Can someone read that for me?
Sri Rama's banishment to the forest.
Okay, yeah. So last week you all heard about the conspiracy, right? How Queen Taikei, her servant Mantra, kind of poisoned her mind into thinking that Lord Ram needed to go to the forest, right? That he would, if he became king, he would cause disturbance to her life. So she ended up getting two boons from King Dasarath, right? Do you all remember that? Do you remember what the two boons were?
Yeah.
Let's see. Dwani, can you tell me? Can you tell me one of the boons?
One of the boons was that Keikeya wanted Bharat to become the king instead of Rama.
That's right. And I see Ashi, you have your hand up. What was the other boon?
So that Ram can go into for an exile in the forest.
That's right. So the two boons, one boon was that Bharat would become king instead of Ram, and the second boon was that Ram should be banished to the forest for how long? Who remembers? Let's see. Oh, Ramaya. How long?
17 years.
Close, close. Satya,
It was 14.
14. That's right. Very close. Very long time, right? So today we're going to be hearing more about how Ram ended up finding out and how he ended up going to the forest. And it was very, very difficult for the whole city of Ayodhya because, as we remember, everyone loved him so much, so much. So it's going to be very sad. Um, let's go to our opening prayers. Let me send you a picture of that as well. For those of you who are coming in just now, I'm having a little difficulty with sharing my screen, but I'm going to try and figure it out so that we can see my screen normally soon. But let's chant the opening prayers together. Do you all see it in your chat? Yes? Okay, you can all unmute. Let's say it together, okay? Ready? Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya
Kaya
Chakshurmilitam
Kakshuranimitena Yena
Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri
Shri
Krishna
Krishna Chaitanya
Prabhu
Prabhu Nityananda
Nityananda Shri
Shri
Advaita Gadadara Srivasadi
Vasadi
Gaura
Guru Bhaktavinda
Vrinda Hare
Hare
Krishna
Krishna
Hare Krishna 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 Hare
Hare
Hare Hare Rama
Rama
Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. I know you all learned something special about this last mantra, Maha Mantra, Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, last week. Can someone share that with me? What did you learn about that mantra? How about Anika, were you here last week? No. Okay. How about Nandika and Nandini? You were here last week. Do you remember what something special you learned about the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra?
So it's always at the end of the opening prayer, I think.
Well, we can actually say it any time of the day. Do you remember when? When specifically?
Uh,
No, that's
don't
okay.
remember.
I see Satya's hand up. What do you remember anything, Satya?
When you want to talk to Krishna.
Yeah, it's a phone number, right? It's not a phone that we can see, but it's a way of connecting with Krishna, with God. Whenever you have anything really, if you have something happy that's going on and you want to thank Krishna for what's happening, you can always say this mantra and he will hear you. He'll be right there. If there's something that you are struggling with, if you're feeling sad about something, you're going through something difficult, you can also say this mantra and Krishna will hear you. He'll be right there with you and he'll hear whatever you have, whatever's in your heart while you're saying this mantra. So it's a very special mantra because we can connect directly with Krishna, with God, who's our best friend, right? Um, now give me 1 second, everyone. I'm going to see if I can um, get a hold of someone who could help me share my screen. If not, then we'll just continue doing what we're doing, okay? Give me 1 minute break. All right, friends, we're gonna have to continue with the chat, okay? I'm so sorry. But let me know when you can see what's in the chat, and we'll continue like that for today until I can get someone to help me with the screen, okay? Let me share with you another um, picture. This will be the shloka that we're working on for today, okay? Okay, thumbs up if you can see what I've shared you. All right, very good. Okay, so this is the next shloka that we're learning. Yes, Satya, do you have something to say?
I can see the picture, but I can't read it.
Okay, have you tried clicking it so that it becomes big on your screen?
Um,
Try that for me. It should be able to work. Can the rest of you see the words on the screen, on the picture? Yes? Okay.
I tried clicking it.
Try clicking it from the chat. Are you on a laptop?
I'm on a desk. Yeah, I can see it now.
Perfect.
I
Okay.
was on a desktop.
Okay. So yeah, if you are seeing it in the chat, just tap it or click it if you're on a desktop, and you should be able to see it come up. Okay? So friends, this is the second last verse of the second chapter. And then we're going to be done. That's the longest chapter in the Bhagavad Gita. Okay, so you're almost done with the second chapter. So today we're going to go through this verse. Let me say the line by line, and you can say it after me like we normally do. Okay? Now I know you can't see my arrow, but try to listen to what I'm saying and follow along, okay? Actually, I'll do word by word first to make it easier. And once I say, you can repeat after me. Indriyanam
Indriyanam
hi
hi
charatam
charatam
Taratam
yan
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 mano
mano
nuvidiyate
nuvidiyate
tad
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 asya
asya
harati
harati
pragyam
pratyam
pratyam
vayur
vayur
navam
navam
Ivambasi.
evam basir.
Excellent. Good job. We'll do one more time, and this time I'll go through one line each, okay? This is the first line. Indriyanam hi charatam.
Indriyanam
Indriyanam
hicharatam
Try one more time.
Indriyanam
Yep, go ahead.
charatam
Very good. All right, next line. This is line number 2, okay? Yanmano nuvidiyate.
Yanmano
Very good. I'll say it again. Yanmano
Yanmano vidiyate
vidiyate. Your turn.
Mano yuvidiyate
Excellent. You all are doing so great. I know it's a little tricky without seeing my arrow, but you're doing great. This is the third line now. Tad asya harati pragyam. Your turn.
Tadasya harati
Pratyam
pratyam
Excellent. Tad asya harati pragyam.
Bharati Pranyam.
Good. Fourth line now. Vayurnavam ivambhasi.
Vayurnavam Vasi.
Excellent. Vayurnavam ivambhasi.
Vayurnavam Vasi.
Great job. Wow. Wonderful. All right. Again. Indriyanam hi charatam.
Indriyanam hi charatam.
Okay. Let's try again. Indriyanam hi
Indriyanam
charatam.
charatam.
Indriyanam hi charatam.
Wonderful. Second line. Yamano nuvidiyate.
Yanmanudiyate.
Yanmano nuvidiyate.
Good. Yanmano nuvidiyate.
Mano nuvidiyate.
Good. Third line. Tad asya harati pragya.
Tasya harati pragyam.
Tad asya harati pragyam.
Tarasya harati
Tasya harati
Now the fourth line. Vayurnavam ivambhasi.
Vambasi.
All right. Vayurnavam ivambhasi.
Vayurnavam Vambasi.
All right. Wonderful, everyone. Now I'm going to do line 1 and line 2
So then you
together, okay?
use two.
This is line 1 and line 2.
Because then you
Indriyanam hi charatam.
Indriyanam
Charatam.
So 2 lines together now. First and second. Indriyanam hi charatam.
Indriyanam
Charatam.
Now your turn. Try 2 lines together. First 2 lines.
Charatam.
Wonderful. All right, the last 2 I'll say and then you say after me. Tad asya harati pragya vayurnavam ivambhasi. Your turn.
Tasya harati pragyam vayurasmati.
Vayurnavam Vambasi.
Wonderful. One more time. Tad asya harati pragyam vayurnavam ivambhasi.
Tarasya harati
Tasya harati pragyam vayurnavam ivampasi.
All right, wonderful. Great job. Okay, now, give me 1 second. Okay. Can you all see the synonyms also?
What?
Can you all see the synonyms, the word for words underneath?
Yeah.
Okay, let's read those all together. Indriyanam, of the
Senses.
he, certainly, charatam, while roaming, yat, with which, mana, the mind, anuvidiyate,
Becomes constantly
engaged,
engaged.
that,
That
asya, his, harati,
Harati
takes
takes
away,
away
pragyam, intelligence, vayu,
Vaya
wind,
Min
navam, both,
Above
iva,
Eva
like,
Light
ambasi,
Embassy
water.
on the water.
Wonderful. And what language are we reading here? Yes, Ramaya.
Sanskrit.
Sanskrit, exactly. Okay, now the translation. Oh, I can share my screen now. All right, give me 1 second. Let me share my screen to you. Okay, what can you all see? Can you see my screen?
Yeah.
Excellent. Okay. All right. Let's read the translation. Let's have someone read it for us. We can have a few of you read it. Let's start with Anika. Go ahead.
As a strong wind sweeps away a boat on the water, even one of the roaming senses on which the mind focuses can carry away a man's intelligence.
Thank you. We'll take a few more. I see Dwani. Go ahead.
As a strong wind sweeps away a boat on the water, even one of the roaming senses on which the mind focuses can carry away a man's intelligence.
Thank you. Ramaya, go ahead.
As a strong wind sweeps away a boat on the water, even one of the roaming senses which the mind focuses can carry away a man's intelligence.
Excellent. All right, I have a few of you have attempted the translation. Are there any of you who would like to try the Sanskrit on your own? I see Dhruv and Dwani. You want to do it together?
Indriyanami charatam yanmano nuvidhiyate tad asya hariti pragyam vayurnavamivambasi.
Very good. That was wonderful. Ramaya, go ahead.
Indriyanam hariti sartam yanu yudhiyate Yadasya hate pragyam varunavamivasi.
Excellent try. Good job. Is there anyone else? No? Okay. So here Krishna is talking about the senses, right? We talked about the senses before, or Krishna has talked about the senses before, and we discussed about how they can be very strong, right? They can lead us in they can distract us from what we really need to do, right? We brainstorm different ways our senses get carried away, right? For some of us, it was food. For some of us, it was watching something, hearing something, right? We talked about our senses before. Do you all remember that? Yeah, yeah, we had some discussions about that. Um, and we also discussed how we can use our senses in Krishna's service, right? We had some of you saying how you could offer a flower to Krishna and then smell the flower, right? Some of you said how you could offer a food to Krishna, right? And then have his prasad, right? So there are different ways we can also use our senses in Krishna's service. And in that way, the senses, they won't take away our intelligence, they won't take our focus away from what we really need to do, what our duty is. But Krishna is saying here that if if we follow the roaming senses, then the intelligence can be taken away, just like, let's see, right here. I've got a boat right here. Just like a boat, when it's on the water, the winds, if the winds are very strong, it can carry that boat away from where it's supposed to be going, right? A boat has a designated path on the ocean that it's supposed to follow to get from point A to point B, right? From one shore to the other. But with the strong winds, sometimes the boat gets carried away. It gets off track, right? So in the same way, Krishna is giving this visualization here to say that our senses are very, very strong. So they can even take away our intelligence. They can steer it in the wrong direction if we follow it without thinking properly. Okay, so that's for the verse for today. And as we're also like you heard last week, while we're saying these verses together, try and try and remember it on your own. You know, if you get any chance during the week, you can go back and look at the verse and read it again. You can read the translation. You can think about what Krishna was saying, right? These are some ways that we can also use our intelligence in Krishna's service by remembering his words. Okay? All right, let's go to our Ramayan story now. So, as we talked about in the beginning, where um, Dashrath has just heard about Kaikeyi's wishes, right? How she wants her boons to be fulfilled. And he is devastated, okay? He is devastated. He doesn't know what to do, but he knows that he promised her those boons, so he can't go back on his word. And meanwhile, the whole of Ayodhya didn't know what was going on. They were still thinking that Ram is going to be coronated as king. Everything was being decorated. There were flowers everywhere. Everyone was cooking wonderful preparations. They're decorating the whole city, right? No one knew what was going on. Um, but Dasarath, he had to tell someone to get Ram because what to do? He had to follow his vows. He had to follow whatever he promised to Kaikeyi. So he called his uh, his minister, Sumantra. And when Sumantra came, he was so happy, and he still knew that he thought that Lord Ram was getting coronated. So he was very happy, and he came in and he saw Dasarath like this, all sad, morose. He saw Kaikeyi here, all angry, and he was confused. And Dasarath told him to go get Lord Ram. So Sumantra went to Lord Ram's chamber in the palace, and he told him that your father is calling you. Please come. So Lord Ram followed Sumantra to his father Dasarath's room. And when he got there, he saw Dasarath was so sad, and everyone around was also very disturbed. He saw Kaikeyi there, uh, Mother Kaikeyi, right? Um, Once again, who is Kaikeyi the mother of? Yes, Dhruv.
She's the mother of Bharat.
Bharat, that's right. She's the mother of Bharat. And who is Lord Ram's mother? Um, yes, Dwani.
Australia.
Oshaya, yeah. And then we had Lakshman and Shatrughna, the two twins, right? Who was their mother?
Mitra.
Ashi?
Mitra.
Mitra, yes. Yeah, those are the three prominent queens of Dasarath. So Lord Ram came to King Dasharath's room and he saw King Dasharath was so sad, like this, morose, and he couldn't say anything. All he could say was, "Oh Ram, oh Ram." He couldn't say anything else. He was so sad. And then Kaikeyi, she said, "Your father is he's not able to tell you something because he's afraid that he'll uh, cause pain to your heart. But I'll tell you it. But before I tell you what he wants from you, you have to promise me that you're going to follow it." And
Oh,
so, he said, "Of course, I'll definitely follow everything that you order me to do." Lord Ram was very, very respectful to his elders, to his father, and to all his mothers and stepmothers. Um, so Kaike then, feeling peaceful that Lord Ram will follow what she said, she started to tell him, "Well, I had these two boons from your father, and your father, he granted me them today. And these two boons are that, what are they? Can someone tell me? Ashi?
The one that Ram goes into the forest, and the other one is that Bharat becomes king instead
That's
of Ram.
right. Yes, Bharat becomes king instead of Ram, and then Ram goes to the forest for 14 years, right? It's a long time. Um, So she told that to Lord Ram. These are the two wishes that I wanted and that your father has to give me because he promised them to me already. And so she said, don't allow your father's promise to go in vain. You have to respect his promise. You have to help him follow his word and not break it." And Lord Ram immediately he said, "Of course, mother." Lord Ram, did he get angry? No. He immediately he said, "Yes, mother, of course. I will do as you said, and I will make sure that our father's order is not going to be broken, or that his promise won't be broken." And Dasarath, he couldn't believe it. He really didn't want Ram to go, but he had no choice. He had to follow through with these promises, right? All he could say again was Ram, no, this is so painful, Ram. He was so sad. He couldn't say anything. And Lord Ram, he took his leave before anything else could happen. He took his leave and he went straight to his mother's room. Who was his mother again?
Kausalya.
Kaushal,
Kaushalya. Yeah. He went straight to Kaushalya's room to tell her. And at this also, I forgot to mention, but Lakshman um, was very attached to Lord Ram, and he would always follow him everywhere. He was like his shadow. He would go with him everywhere. Lakshman was the younger brother of Ram, right? So Lakshman was following him everywhere. And while all this was happening, he was getting angry. He was getting so angry. He couldn't believe what was happening. But he was trying to control his anger so much, so much. And he followed Ram to Kaushalya, Mother Kaushalya's room. Oh, this is Kaikeyi telling Ram about the boons. Here, Lord Ram comes to Kaushalya's room, and Kaushalya still didn't know what was happening. As soon as Ram came in, she said, "Oh, Ram, you're here. You're going to be king soon." She was so happy, um, talking about the preparations in the palace. And then Lord Ram said, "Mother, please don't get too excited. I'm here to tell you something that just happened." And then he shared with Queen Kaushalya what had happened. And as you can see here, was Kaushalya happy?
No.
No, she started to cry. She couldn't believe that he would have to leave for 14 years. That's a long time. Are any of you here 14
Two
or close
years.
to 14?
and 8.
2 years. It's 2 more years.
Okay.
And
How
I'm
about
14.
8?
Okay. So for some of you, that's a lifetime, right? Even a little bit more than a lifetime. So she was devastated that for that long he was going to go. And in those days, they didn't have um, social media, they didn't have phones, they didn't have a
Oh, yeah.
newspaper, right? There was no way for her to keep in contact with Lord Ram. He would be gone until he came back after 14 years. She was devastated. She started to cry. She she said, "Ram, I want to go with you. Please take me with you." And then Ram said, "No, you can't go. You will not be able to survive the forest. You have to stay here and you have to give company to our father. He's already in such a terrible condition. You have to stay here and try and pacify him." And so finally, his mother said, "Okay, I'll stay here." But he said, "You have to please give me your blessing so I can go." And so she did. She gave him her blessings. And at that point, Lakshman started getting very angry. And he said, "Ram, what is this? Why do we have to listen to to our father's promise? Why can't we create a war? Why can't we take over the government? I can conquer the whole of Ayodhya if I want to. If you want me to, I can do all of that. So you can have the kingdom and you can be here and we can send all the people who don't want you away." He was getting so angry. But Lord Ram said, "No, no, no, calm down, calm down. We need to follow. This is our father's order. This is his wish, and we need to follow. We cannot allow him to break his word." So you can see how Lord Ram was such an obedient son. No matter what inconvenience was there, he was following his father's order. He was helping him to keep his promise. So finally, he pacified his mother and Lakshman, and then they went back to Lord Ram's room where Sita was there. Sita was waiting for Lord Ram to come back. And she was still in her happy, everyone was still happy. They all thought Lord Ram was going to
Hey,
be
Sabri,
king,
can you
right?
hear me? Copy that.
What did you say, Ashi?
Nothing. My
Oh,
sister
okay.
was.
Oh, okay, okay. So Lord Ram came to Sita's room, or to his room where Sita was there, and then she could see that he was looking a bit pale and a bit anxious. He was not really happy anymore. And so she asked him what was going on, and he told her what happened and that he would have to leave. And she immediately started to say, "I'm coming with you. I don't want to stay here without you." And Ram was trying to persuade her to stay in the kingdom. "It's going to be so dangerous in the forest. You can't go. 14 years? That's a long time. You should be here, be with my family, and then wait for me and I'll come back." And Sita said, "No, I just got married to you. I want to go with you. I don't want to stay here without you. It is my duty as a wife to follow you." So finally, Sita persuaded Lord Ram, and he said, "Okay, you can come with me." And then He said, you have to go and give all your jewelry, everything that you own, go and give it to the Brahmanas in the kingdom, and then come here, and then we'll start getting ready to go. When she left to do that, Lakshman immediately he felt, I don't want to stay here. I want to go too. So he started to persuade Ram as well. He said, "My brother, I want to go with you. I don't want to stay here if you're not going to be here. I need to go with you. Look, I can help you. I can protect you. I can gather fruits and things for you to eat in the forest, right? The way they would have to eat in the forest was there were no shops or anything, no one to cook for them. They'd have to just find berries and fruits and roots, and they'd have to make a fire and cook it and eat it like that. So he was saying, you'll need help. I can do that. I can help you. I can help you get rid of any demons that come in the way, but please let me go. I don't want to be here. And Lord Ram also tried to persuade him and say, "No, you should be here. Take care of our parents. Our father's already going through so much difficulty." But no, Lakshman wanted to go with his brother. So finally, Lord Ram agreed. He said, "Okay, get ready, and we'll start to go." This is Lakshman trying to persuade Ram that he wants to go. So finally, Ram, Lakshman, and Sita, they came to. You see, Dashrath over here, at this point, he's getting weaker and weaker with sadness. He can't believe this is happening,
Look at Kai.
right? And where do you think Kaikeyi is?
What, the one right?
She
This one?
is the one.
Yeah,
Yep, that's right, Ashi. Yeah.
she looks evil.
She's she's
That's her
Yeah,
she's
evil
the
she's
one
face.
taken
with the
over.
evil face and
Right now, she's
everybody.
taken over by some evil ideas, right? We learned last time that association makes a big difference, right? Who you hang out
Yeah,
with
she got it from
really
Wait,
Mantra,
influences what
right?
you think.
she looks
Yeah.
angry.
Yeah, so she was under that influence of Mantra's words. She couldn't see properly what was going on, what she was causing, right?
Speaking
Um,
of Mantra, where is Mantra in this?
Good question. She might be
She's in
somewhere in the
a
She's
back,
different place
sick.
of
just
the
happily
back.
She would be
watching.
happy.
She's,
Yeah, she's
she's
probably happily. If
probably
you see anyone smiling, that's probably her. Um, so they came, and you see what they're wearing? What do you think they're wearing?
Like
Ram, Lakshman, and
blankets?
close, close.
rags,
Oh, Nandini?
rags and
Rags.
bark.
Okay, bark. That's what I was gonna say. Yeah. So, a part of going to the
Isn't bark a
forest,
very hard material?
it is, it is. There are ways
How are,
to,
how are they
um,
wearing it then? It can't even fold unless it will break.
I should have put a photo in here too. I actually, I saw that there are still some tribes in Africa that use, they make clothes out of bark. So they
But
stretch
how do they
and
do
How
then
do
that?
they
It's
make
so
it?
soft
Because like it looks
they
like it's normal silk clothes.
it does look soft, right? Bark is normally hard.
Yes.
I'll research it more and I'll tell you more next week. But I heard that they're able to take some fibers out of the bark and kind of weave it together to make it a little softer. But I'll research more and I'll tell you more about it. But in
Okay.
either way, it's not a comfortable thing to wear. That's it's not supposed to be comfortable. The point of going to the forest was also so they would live like forest people, which means wearing whatever forest people wore, eating whatever they would eat, right? So they had to put on these clothes of made of tree bark, which, like you all imagine, is not comfortable. So Sita had never worn something like that. So they had to kind of teach her how to use it. Finally, they were dressed up and ready to go. So they came here with their wearing their tree bark and they came here to pay respects to their father to let him know that they were leaving, right? And he was so sad over here. He just couldn't believe what was going on. They paid their respects and they started to leave Ayodhya. Um, I see some of you writing evil lady. Yeah, it's unfortunate, right? She caused Lord Ram to leave, and the whole city was so devastated. You can see here, there's so many
And everyone's saying
citizens.
like langing on the carriage thing.
Yeah, they're holding on. They don't want him to go, right? You can see here they're trying to stop the horses. They're trying to stop Sumantra as the charioteer. He was supposed to take them to a certain distance and then leave them, right? So they're trying to stop him. They're trying to block the wheels. They really don't want him to go. And this all
See,
happened
people up there
within,
is doing nothing. Think that's like okay. right?
Yeah, yeah. Although some of them are probably also not wishing this to happen. Um, but yeah, and this all happened just within overnight, basically. From one day they were preparing for Lord Ram to be there forever, be king. And then the next day he was going for 14 years, right? So they were so sad and they were trying to follow him. They followed him all the way to the end of Ayodhya. So many of them actually followed him. And finally, Lord Ram, he said, we have to go in such a way that they won't be able to follow us. So they stayed the night um, at one part of the forest, the outskirts of the city of Ayodhya, and then in the middle of the night, they got up, Ram, Sita, and Lakshman, and then at that time the charioteer, they woke up while everyone was still sleeping and they left, so that the others couldn't follow him and they'd have to go back to Ayodhya. And they finally reached, as they went through the forest, they met a few different people on the way as they were trying to figure out where they would stay, right? So um, as they were going, they met a very wonderful person named King Guha. Now, King Guha was something like a tribal person, what you would call a tribal person. He grew up in the forest, but he was like the king of that tribal colony that was there in the forest. And he was a great devotee of Lord Ram. He heard about him and he really loved him. And when he saw that Lord Ram was coming to his little area that he was ruling, he immediately he welcomed Lord Ram. You can see he's washing his feet here. This is um it's a sign of respect. When you really respect someone, you bring them into their house and you wash their feet. It's a way to welcome a guest. It's a very respectable way to welcome a guest. So you can see King Guha was washing Lord Ram's feet here. He brought many wonderful gifts, many types of preparations to eat, and he asked Lord Ram to please accept all that. And then Lord Ram, um, he really appreciated it, but he said, I'm coming here to live in the forest, and I don't really want to have all these fancy things. So please give whatever food you have to my horses, and then take whatever you gave me back, because I want to be simple in the forest. Yes, Ashi.
In the picture, weren't they wearing bark?
Yeah, these are pictures, so there's different depictions, right? In the other picture, it looked more like bark. I guess here it looks a little less like bark. Yeah, but they were wearing tree bark. That's what is mentioned in the Ramayan. And you can see here they're much simpler. They don't have all those jewelries anymore. These earrings that they're wearing, those are most likely flower earrings. And then they have beads, right? Instead of diamonds and all the other real jewelry that they would have. So, yes, Ramaya.
My dad, he has a bracelet of those beads that Ram is wearing.
Oh, really? Okay. Yeah. So King Guha, he welcomed Ram so very nicely. And eventually Lord Ram, hold on one second. There. Okay. And so Lord Ram, remember Guha gave him all these different uh, gifts, and then Lord Ram said, "No, please take them back. I don't want them. I'm going to be in the forest. I want to live simply, right?" So King Guha, he took them back, and he was just very he really wanted to serve Lord Ram. He wanted to do anything to please Lord Ram. He was so happy that he came and visited him. And so Lord Ram asked, "Please take us across the Ganga." So that we can continue going through the forest. So King Guha, right here, he arranged a boat to take Lord Ram, Sita, and Lakshman across the Ganga. And he drove it himself. He drove, not drove, he rowed the boat himself all the way across. And then Lord Ram, he bid farewell to King Guha. And King Guha was still kind of keeping an eye on Lord Ram. He was spying just to make sure that Lord Ram was safe. But Lord Ram, Sita, and Lakshman, they made their way through the forest and they came to meet, this is Sage Bharadwaj. He's a very respectable sage. Lord Ram came to meet him there. And Sage Bharadwaj also was very happy that Lord Ram came. And he said, Lord Ram, please stay with me. You can stay in my ashram. I have my students here, they can serve you. And then Lord Ram, he was very grateful for this, but he said, this place is really close to Ayodhya, and I really don't want the people of Ayodhya to find me here and then start coming here. They need to be in Ayodhya, and I need to follow the vows that my father, um, made by living in the forest. So Sage Bharadwaj, he understood. And Lord Ram, Sita, and Lakshman, they continued on, and they met Sage Valmiki too. Now, this name might sound familiar to you all. Do you remember who this person is? Sage Valmiki? I see. Who do I see here? Nandini or Nandika?
So he was at first like a person who killed anybody in his path, but then he became a sage.
Yeah. Yeah, I see Ashi, you have your hand up too. You didn't? Okay. Yes, that's right. He was first a hunter, but then he met Narada Muni, and he became so purified that he became a sage, right? And he even wrote the Ramayan. So Lord Ram came to meet him, and after meeting him, Lord Ram decided this area was a nice place. It was called Chitrakoot. So Lord Ram and Lakshman, they built a little hut there, and they started to stay in Chitrakoot, which is a part of that forest. Okay? And now this is Lord Ram in the forest. We'll hear more about what happens in the forest. A lot of interesting things happen, and I'm sure some of you know, but we'll save that for next time. But before we finish, we're going to go back to Ayodhya. Now, in the meantime, remember how I said King Guha was spying just to make sure that Lord Ram reached all his destinations safely? Yeah? So, as when he saw that Lord Ram had reached safely, he informed the charioteer. Remember the charioteer who drove Lord Ram to the edge of Ayodhya? He informed him, and at that point, the charioteer Sumantra went back to Ayodhya. And when he came back to Ayodhya with empty chariots, do you think the residents of Ayodhya were happy? No, they were even more sad than when Lord Ram was leaving. They thought they had some kind of a hope that maybe Ram would come back. Yeah, I see some of you are going like this. Yeah, they were not happy. They thought Ram would come back. Maybe, he would decide to return. So immediately Ayodhya became even more morose than ever, morose and sad. It was just a very dark city at that point. And then Sumantra, he came to meet Dasarath. At that point, Dasarath was getting weaker and weaker and weaker. He was just barely alive because he was so sad that Lord Ram was going. And Sumantra came, and when he came, Dasarath also had a little bit of hope that maybe Lord Ram would come back with him. And so when he saw Sumantra, he said, "Where's Ram? What happened?" And Sumantra, he said, "My lord, they left. They're in the forest now. I left them there and I had to return. They wouldn't let me go with them." And at that point, Dasarath, then he knew Lord Ram was going to be there for 14 years. And he slowly, slowly started to lose his desire to live. Yes, Ashi.
Doesn't Dasta die because of being away from Ram?
Exactly. So, oh, that's the next story. Yeah. So
But was it?
we'll come
But
to
was
that.
it? Just one question. Wait,
It's
Yeah.
like a
was it?
curse.
Was it curse?
I didn't hear
The
it. Can you
book
say that one more time?
was it because of a curse? Like he was separated
Yes,
from
yes.
Ram. It was
Yes, I'm
because
coming
of
to
a.
that. You all know so much. It's so nice. I'm coming to that. Just one second. So yeah, Sumantra, once he told Dasarath that Lord Ram's in the forest, he began to feel more and more weaker. He didn't really feel like living anymore. And he was staying in Kaushalya's room, right? Kaushalya was trying to take care of him because he was so weak. And he began to tell Kaushalya a story. He said, I'll tell you something. This is what happened when I was younger. I learned, he said, I'd been trained how to hunt without seeing the object. I could shoot and hit it. So he could hear the sounds that an object or something was making, and he would be able to aim for it without seeing it. That's how skilled he was in his archery. So one day when he was young, when he was a young prince, he was going through the forest and he heard that someone was at the river making some noise in the water, drinking water or just making some noise with the water. So just by hearing that sound, he shot his arrow and he managed to hit the target. He didn't realize though that that target actually happened to be the thing that was making the sounds in the water was actually a boy named what was his name? I think it was Shravan Kumar. He was getting
Yeah.
water. Yeah, he was getting
They,
water from the river. He
Parents.
was
parents
serving
because
his
they were
blind
way old
parents.
and
Yeah, they were
Yeah.
blind.
Yeah, exactly.
his
Yeah. His parents were old and blind, and he was serving them, right? He was getting them water, and he happened to be making that sound. He was putting his jug in the water, and King Dashrath hit him without knowing that it was a person, right? And as soon as he hit, he heard someone scream, and he knew, oh no, I don't know who that is. And he went immediately, he rushed there to see what happened. And he saw Shravan Kumar laying there with the arrow that Dashrath shot, right? So immediately he went there and he tried to, see what he could do, but it was too late. Shravan Kumar was about to die, and he said, "I am the only son of my two parents. They are old and they are blind. They rely on me. I was coming here to get water, and now you have killed me. So please take this jug of water that I have and go give it to my parents. They're going to need it." And then Shravan Kumar, he passed away right there. So Dasarath was heartbroken. He didn't know how he was going to face his parents. But the last wishes of this boy was to take that little jug of water and give it to his parents. So he went with that jug of water to the boy's parents and he told them what had happened. And so the parents were devastated and they said, take us to him, take us to his body. So he took them to his body. And once they had completed all the final rites, the father, he was so disturbed. He said, because you have taken our son away, you're also going to have to die from separation from your son when you have children. Um,
Um,
and so Dasarath, he told that story to Kaushalya and he said, I think that's what's happening. Lord Ram has left, and now I feel like I'm going to die. I'm so sad. And so he spent the rest of that day thinking of Ram, thinking of all the wonderful memories that he had with Lord Ram, his childhood, and everything that he loved about Lord Ram. And then at midnight of that night, he passed away thinking of Lord Ram. And in the morning, when all the servants, the ministers, when the queens, when they woke up, they noticed that Dasrath had passed away. And it was time to um, do his final rites, right? And the whole city of Ayodhya was even more sad. Now, Lord Ram has gone. King Dasarath, which was also a great king, had passed away, right? What was happening? Yes, Nandika.
what are final rights?
Those are they're rites that we do to someone who has passed away. So it's like a nice send off. There are some rituals that
farewell.
help them, yeah, and they help them in their journey to their next destination, that soul. It helps that soul to receive a good destination in
Rest
their
in
next
peace,
life.
right?
Yes, and to get into a good um, place in their next life. So that's typically what we do for someone who's passed away, right? But they needed they needed a son to do those rites. And Lakshman and no, Bharat and Shatrughna, they were not here yet. Remember, during this whole time, Bharat and Shatrughna were gone. They were visiting, who remembers where they were?
Who?
Anyone remember where Bharat and Shatrughna were?
Um, they were out of town.
They were out of town, yes. They were visiting their grandfather,
Oh,
Kaikeyi's father. They were visiting
But
him.
he already said it. Who
What did we
is KK's father?
Kaikeyi's
Who?
father? That's a good question. I'll find out his name and I'll tell you next week, okay? But they went anyway to see Bharat's grandfather. Um, And so during this whole time, they had no idea what was happening. They thought Ram was going to get coronated. They didn't know anything, right? Remember, there was no social media. There was nothing. They couldn't find out until they came back or until someone went there and told them. So now that Dasrath had passed away, um, the ministers of Dasrath, they decided to send a messenger to bring Bharat and Shatrughna back immediately to do the final rites for King Dashrath. And that's where we'll leave off for today, and we'll learn more about what happens next week, okay? We'll hear more about Lord Ram in the forest, and we'll hear about Bharat's reaction when he comes. Is he happy? Is he not? We'll find out. Do you think he's going to become king?
Mm-mm.
Some of you think no?
No.
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 Let's see what'll happen. Let's see.
100% no.
100% no?
I want
Okay, we'll find out next
to
week.
3,000,000% no. 3,000,000% no.
Do you think Bharat will be happy?
No.
No. No? I see some of you say no. Maybe some of you aren't sure. Yes, Ashi.
I think Kaikai's father is Kaikai Raj, I think.
Okay, Raj, that sounds right. Yeah. I'll confirm that and I'll tell you next week, but that sounds right.
That's what I heard from my grandma.
Okay, okay. Thank you.
Bye.
All right. So let's chant
No.
our special mantra, right? Our special mantra where we can connect with Krishna. And if you have any prayer in your mind at this time, you can also think about it while you're saying the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. This is a time that we can connect with Krishna, okay? And remember, you can say this at any time in the day, whenever you want to connect with Krishna, with God. And you can thank Him, you can express any prayers you have. All right, let's say it together. Hare Krishna, Hare
Krishna,
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 Krishna
Krishna,
Krishna,
Hare
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 Hare,
Hare
Hare
Rama,
Rama,
Hare
Rama,
Rama,
Rama
Hare Rama,
Rama
Rama,
Rama,
Rama
Hare
Hare
Rama,
Hare.
Hare.
Hare Hare.
All right, friends, let me not share my screen anymore. Okay, thank you so much. And do you have anything else to say? Anyone have anything they want to share before we finish? Yes,
Bye.
Ramaya.
I like the Ramayan story a lot.
Yeah, it's starting to build up, right? There's some complications and things happening now. Yeah. Yeah, it's a very sad part of the Ramayan, this whole the conspiracy part. Yes, Ramayo.
I also like when Anika joined.
When who?
Anika.
When Anika joined? Anika, is this your first time?
It's my second.
Your second time. Okay, welcome. It's great to have you. And I thought, okay, Nandika and Nandini, you have your hand raised.
What's gonna be next time's story?
Next time we'll hear more about Lord Ram in the forest, and we'll also hear about Bharat and what's his reaction to all that happened, right? He doesn't know what is happening, remember? And
But does Bharat want to be king? No.
find out. We'll find out next week.
I think he wants to. I think he will want Rama to be king.
Yeah,
Yeah.
some of us think yes, something no. We'll see. We'll find out next week, okay? All right, friends. Well, have a great rest of your Sunday and a good week ahead. We'll see you next week.
Bye.
Bye. Hare Krishna. Thank you.
Yeah, we're ending school on Tuesday, so we're lucky.
Oh, yeah, that's nice.
Ended.
We'll have a great summer.
I'm done.
Thank you so
All right.
much.
See you all next week. Hare Krishna.
Bye.
Thank you so much. I'm Manika and Kavish's mom, and they really appreciate. Thank you.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you for joining. It's such a pleasure. Alrighty.
Ma'am. Bye.
Bye.